What's the role that changed everything for you?
I think from an external place doing Sopranos, just because so many people saw it.
Yeah.
And it was the first part, it was the first show I did where I was in it a lot. And it gained popularity pretty quickly, so a lot of people saw it. That it changes who you are in this industry. People start to recognize you, which starts to have a leverage of its own when it comes to getting further work and stuff like that. And I mean, the lucky part is that it happened to have been something I was very proud of. Those things you can't always count on those two things being hand in hand. So I was very grateful for that.
Yeah.
It was also 10 years from 35 to, well, I'm not quite 45 yet. But there was a big chunk of my life that I aged in front of people who were watching this show. So it's an interesting life choice we've made here. But so it's probably Sopranos, I'm thinking. How about you?
You know, there are a lot, I think, and maybe the most obvious one is the recent one, you know, Whiplash, which changed the sort of perception, I guess, of me more than I felt it changed anything, because I'm 60 years old when that's happening. So it's like, and I was very grateful that kind of, attention hadn't come to me when I was 20 something, because God knows I would have done a James Dean or something,
Right.
But that was huge. And again, like with The Sopranos, it was so exciting that it was happening with something that I was completely in love with, the project, that Damien Chazelle and Miles Teller, and that it was a film that I felt 100% proud of, But that was just the most recent one. I mean, there were so many. I mean, going back to, Oz, obviously was big for a lot of people at the time.
Right.
And God bless Tom Fontana.
Oh, Tom Fontana. Nobody like him.
And that sort of put me on the map as a guy who'd been toiling away doing theater for 20 years and loving it.
Right.
But now, I could maybe pay the mortgage, and that made me, somewhat visible to a television. Well, it's not television. It's not TV. It's HBO.
It's HBO. Oh my gosh. Woo.
But yeah, that was also a big one.
Yeah, that was also the first time I didn't have to do another job was when I was working on Oz.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a milestone. That's no small potatoes.
Yeah.
What role do you get recognized for most frequently?
Well, Oz is one still, 20 years later, and especially when I'm in New York. Well, and at first it was, my wife was terrified that I was just going to get my butt kicked on the one train every day, playing, the head of the Aryan Brotherhood, and going home. And usually, I was like, let's save time. I'm not going to take off the swastika tattoo.
Oh, are you out of your
because then I got to put it back on.
No,
again
right.
tomorrow, so, I put on a shirt usually, but I think depending on where I am, it varies. There's Oz, there's Law and Order, which is obviously, an iconic show that I was sort of marginally involved in, and the comic book fans who still go nuts about the Spider-Man movies, which were super fun. And
I bet.
And lately, now it's been Whiplash, and for the past year, it's playing two guys in Counterpart.
Yeah,
but I also, and I'm sure it's the same with you. Somebody will stop me somewhere on the street, and say, "Hey, I saw you in," and they'll talk about some off Broadway play I did in 1986 that changed their life. And it's like such a beautiful thing.
What an honor. There really is no other reason to do this, I think, to get one person that can say.
Well, and the paycheck.
And there's that. Yeah. If you're not waitressing, still, that's helpful.
No, because I remember, when we met that was kind of the end of the not having to wait tables, really, for both of us in between gigs. It was like, wow, I haven't waited tables in like a year.
Huge. But I was always had my eyes out at the help wanted signs. I don't think that still doesn't go away. I walk past a restaurant, I'm like, it's a pretty busy lunch crowd. I can keep my eye on this place. I know, it's just so cellular for an actor in New York.